On today's Two on Your Side Town Hall, it's been a flurry of decisions at the FDA these last 2 days on boosters and other vaccine issues. We're going to have a local doctor here to help sort through it all. Plus, some answers on what looks like a troubling rise in childhood obesity during the pandemic. And of course, you know we're getting ready for a big Monday night matchup for the Bills in Tennessee, and Mr. Vic Carucci will be helping us do it coming up. And we thank you so much for joining us here on the Town Hall tonight. I'm Kate Welshofer. Michael has the night off, and for the second straight day, an FDA panel is recommending another booster shot. The Vaccine Advisory Panel a short time ago recommended that the full agency approve a second Johnson & Johnson dose for anyone 18 and up, and that it come at least 2 months after the first. So the data the committee reviewed showed that the booster raised the effectiveness of the vaccine to 94%. And some on the panel said that this shouldn't be considered a booster, but that Johnson & Johnson should simply be a 2-dose vaccine, just like the others. So joining us live right now to talk about all of it, Dr. Nancy Nielsen, Senior Associate Dean for Health Policy at UB's Medical School. And I'm going to jump right in. Johnson & Johnson booster was recommended today for anyone 18 and up, while yesterday's Moderna decision and Pfizer's last month were for older and higher risk Americans. So is that difference just because it's a different shot? And overall, what's the impact of all these decisions?
Well, it's very interesting, and you actually nailed it on your lead-in, Kate, because what the panelists said was the antibody response with J&J wanes with time. And so you really need a second shot to get you where the other two vaccines have you. So they called it a booster, but they said it really probably shouldn't be considered a booster. We should just consider J&J a 2-shot regimen. And that's why it's recommended for everybody 18 and up, as opposed to what happened with Pfizer several weeks ago and Moderna yesterday, where they recommended that the booster, and by the way, the Moderna booster will be only half the usual dose, and that be given to people over 65, immunocompromised people, and people in high-risk occupations. So that's the difference.
And the panel also discussed data today regarding mixing and matching vaccines after an NIH study this week found that was effective. Does that seem like something that we could be seeing in the near future?
Absolutely. It was a very elegant presentation of the NIH data. What they did is they took people in 3 categories, depending on which vaccine they had, and then they actually enrolled them to get a booster of either the same vaccine that their primary vaccination was, or one of the others. And all of them responded extremely well. So I suspect that before very long, we're going to be given the okay to get a booster with anything. There are some things to think about with that, however. The 2 mRNA vaccines, Pfizer and Moderna, the one complication, though rare, that has been reported with those 2 vaccines is myocarditis, particularly in younger males under 40. So probably you'll begin to see some targeted recommendations for certain boosters for certain categories of people. But it was a big 2 days at the FDA, that's for sure. And now everything goes next week to CDC, which will make the final recommendations.
So we'll be updating as we go along here, but I wanted to ask you about something else. The American Academy of Pediatrics just sharing some data showing that September brought really a pretty sharp rise in COVID cases and deaths for kids in this past month. So what can we take away from that? I mean, I know that my mind that is not a medical mind, pretty quickly goes to thinking, well, the kids are back in school. What does it say about the effort also to approve a vaccine for younger children?
Well, it's imperative that we move quickly on this, and on the 26th of this month, the Pfizer data on 5 to 11-year-olds will be presented to the FDA. So we will see a similar kind of discussion, but everybody is very anxious to have this happen. It's interesting. The rise in the cases in kids actually started back in July, and we think it's due to the contagiousness of the Delta variant rather than school, because obviously school wasn't in session yet. But there has been another big surge with schools. Interestingly, at least around here, kids are bringing the infection to school. They're not catching it at school. But so far, over 6 million kids have had COVID, and about 20% of teenagers who get it have symptoms 3 months later. So this is not a trivial disease, and it is really important that we get kids vaccinated as soon as we're sure that the vaccine is safe.
About a minute left, Dr. Nielsen. The White House announced tonight that the border will be opening from Canada November 8th to fully vaccinated people. And Congressman Brian Higgins says that he's concerned about what's going to be included with all of that, given that a lot of Canadians got the AstraZeneca vaccine or mixed doses, and none of that is approved here. Is there any reason to believe that those people are any less safe?
No, there isn't. And I'm hoping that the government will do what we think they're doing with international travelers. Namely, people have to be vaccinated, but they have to be vaccinated. They have to show proof of vaccination in the country where they were vaccinated. So if they were vaccinated with AstraZeneca and it was approved in their country, then bring it on. I mean, AstraZeneca has been used in the UK for a long time, so I think they'll accept whatever was approved in their country.
We've been chatting with Dr. Nancy Nielsen, Senior Associate Dean for Health Policy at UB's Medical School and a friend of the town hall. Thanks again, Dr. Nielsen, for coming back.
Thank you, Kate.
We've got to get to some breaking news this evening. This is just into the newsroom. New York State Parks Police say the body that Canadian search crews found yesterday near Niagara-on-the-Lake was that of Cameron Stenzel, the 15-year-old from Sanborn they'd been looking for days, and he fell into the river near the whirlpool while fishing there Monday, a story that we'll have more later on tonight. But now to another issue that pediatricians are dealing with, a rise in childhood obesity rates in the U.S. during the pandemic. About 1 in 6 children are now dealing with obesity, which of course can lead to other health issues. To On Your Side's Kelly Dudzik spoke with an expert today to talk about ways that they can hopefully, Kelly, try to reverse that trend.
Yeah, Kate. So, while not surprising, the doctor I talked with today called it devastating and extremely concerning. A CDC study released last month looked at the BMI of more than 432,000 kids ages 2 to 19, both before and during the pandemic. It found the rate of BMI increase approximately doubled. A study just released this week by the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation found about 1 in 6 10 to 17-year-olds in the U.S. has obesity. Oishei Children's Hospital has seen the same trends at its Way Management Center over the last year. So, what's to blame? It's usually a disruption in structure when it comes to when you eat and when you sleep.
It sounds like cliche, but it is clear that during the 1 year of pandemic, when children were not doing that, they were going to bed at unusual times, staying up the whole night on social media or playing video games and sleeping in during the day, the weight changed dramatically. There was higher incidence of all obesity-associated complications that resulted. So just switching back to the old ways of structured lifestyle can be an excellent thing that parents can do, and they can focus by telling kids, hey, don't skip your meals.
He also says don't spoil your meals with snacks. That way you're eating at structured times, Kate.
Yeah, does he think that kids going back to in-person learning, kind of a little bit more structure as far as that goes this year, is that going to help at all?
Yeah, absolutely. Dr. Majumdar says he's very confident that will happen and that they've already started seeing improvement in children at Oishei. Their BMI has gotten better, and they're telling him that they're eating at the same time every day more often, and they have earlier bedtimes because they have to get up early to go to school. He also says getting breakfast and lunch at school has been good for their overall health.
Any tips at all. Any tips on how to stay active?
Yeah, especially when it's raining out like it is right now. He
Yes.
says any activity counts. Going up and down the stairs counts. He mentioned that daily 10,000 step goal a lot of people have, but focusing on structure really is key, especially when it comes to meals and sleep. Bad sleep hygiene, as we all know, can cause all sorts of other health problems.
I mean, it's certainly tough whether you're a little human or a big one, so it's
Yeah.
good tips all the way around for everybody.
Like, the struggle is real for all of us.
It certainly is.
Yeah.
Kelly, thank you.